Hey guys, Comet here. Welcome to episode 3 in my Alchemy Factory series. In the last episode, I got the Vitality Potions going, using this little build here. But in this episode, I want to focus on the stuff in this tier. Mainly the Coke and potentially Fertilizer. I don't think I can make it all the way to the Transformation Potion in this episode. This is actually my second time trying to record this episode. I went about making Coke in a really bad way. I'll unlock the Athenor here and show you what I was doing. So this is the new building here. It takes in... Oh, I don't have any recipes yet, but it takes in 2 solid inputs, and it has 2 solid outputs. But Coke is one of the recipes for it, so I'll research that. Alright, now I can set this. It takes 120 charcoal powder to make 1 piece of Coke. So I was trying to use this recipe. I had a whole bunch of these table saws going into crucibles on top of the furnaces. Just making a whole bunch of charcoal powder like I was over here. But because this ratio is so terrible, it was only... I had to make like 7 furnaces just to barely get a little bit of Coke as an output. So we're not going to do that. There's actually a much better way of doing this. And that is using coal. Coal can be thrown straight into one of these. And if we run that through a crucible, you can see it makes 10 a minute. So this one crucible is doing the same thing that the Athenor would do for a much smaller input. So this is 1-to-1 instead of being 12-to-1. So this is a much better recipe. I'm going to stick with this one. But before I get building in this area, I actually want to start laying down some flooring. So I need to unlock the next building tool. And that's just with some brick and clay. I should have those smelting here. Maybe not, but it's actually really easy to set up. I could just do this. Do that, and then just get a kiln right here, and then I'll split half of that. Alternatively, I could actually rotate the orientation of this box and do something a little more like this. So I'll wait for... I need to... There we go. I'll wait for this to smelt up. And in the meantime, probably just restock everything I'm missing here. Like the wood. I want to move away from manually restocking things, because this is getting very tedious to keep up with everything, now that there's so much to actually do. So I want to get a perimeter belt set up. I'll have probably money on the bottom, and then I'm thinking fuel, and then fertilizer. And this setup seems to be a community standard to run these 3 items around the perimeter. That way, the money can be converted at this purchasing portal into whatever item is needed. But I want to get the flooring in place before I put the belts, because I don't want to have to move the belts once I get the new floors. And the new floors, that's these things that I'm standing on here, that is unlocked with this building tool. So back to the brick. Let's see how many we've got. 14. I want to stay away from researching turquoise and the shaper for now. I think the shaper I'll save for the episode where I do the Jupiter. If I research this, then people are going to start requesting it in the shop, and I'd rather keep my reputation up So I'll just get advanced fertilizer here. I don't know if we'll actually get into that in this episode. Probably, with the new Coke design. I spent I spent so much time on the old one, and then watched it run and realized that it was barely making anything for so much input material. I'll also go into this filter splitter so that I can get these priority mergers and splitters. And also steel, but I won't go into the gears yet. Otherwise people are going to start requesting gears. But that's all the brick. I can get this now. Beautiful. And now I can put floors down. Okay, so this is as much as I can cover without ripping up the legacy factory. I'll just leave all of this in place for now. Work on the new stuff in the new area, and then slowly switch each one of these over to run off of the money belt. So money belt, that's actually going to go through the wall right here where my bed is, so I need to remove the bed. Get in one of the... oh, end of day, go away. One of these things in place. Right there. Then, if I just run a belt straight out like this, the silver is gonna stack up to its max stack. I need to run it through another bank portal to limit the flow to just one piece of silver. Oh, and there's a new quest. That I can actually... no, I can't. I'm not making soap yet. Can I do... yeah, I can do that one. Oh, that one's pinned. Can I do this one? I can. And yeah, I don't care about that one. So I'll get the bank here. Belted like this. And then I want it to do silver one at a time. And then I can just connect that box into there. And this will limit the flow to just one silver. The belt is going to come out this way. Need to grab more wood. All the way around. And then off that way. And then on top of that will be fuel. And then on top of the fuel will be the fertilizer. We'll see if we get into that in this episode. I might have time. I know I won't be able to go all the way through the vitality potion. But I think getting this money, fuel, and fertilizer belt set up would set the next episode up for the transformation potion. Okay, all of this is in place. I can start planning out how I want to do this. So I'm going to need a furnace, which means I need rocks. Then I can do crucibles on top of that. I need to supply the crucibles with some coal. I think it's 3. Yeah, so this makes it at 20 a minute. And actually, I'm going to move these crucibles. Pretty sure I need 2 furnaces. Something like this. I guess it needs a little bit of fuel. And that's made at 10 a minute. So, yeah, it's 6 to 3. That's good. Then I need some grinders on the back. But the grinders only convert half of it. So I'm going to need 2 grinders per crucible. And I think I can do something similar to what I did with the sand right here, where I used a box to split the belt into 2 heights. So right here, I could come around and then into the box. And then I could fit 6 grinders across this way at 2 different levels. just like this. And then I'll get another box set up right here to undo the stacking. And then that can actually just be fed back through these furnaces, and the surplus can go to the rest of the factory. But I actually like to double things more than I probably should. So I'm just gonna mirror this whole design. Because right now I'm making 60 a minute with these 6 crucibles, but the belts can do up to 120, so I could double this. And in that case, I think they could probably share a common... Yeah, I can make this a little bit smaller. So maybe I use some stone here to hold up the belt. I'll use wood here. I think it makes more sense to put stone blocks next to something hot. Even though they won't actually catch on fire or anything. That will run around that way. This should actually be in the center. Yeah. I'll build this up. This can go here. And then down, and instead of going into there, these will join here. And then these can also share an input belt. Oh no, that won't work. This needs to be back one. Yeah. So I'll get some stands to here. This will be the elevator. The input box will be there. This will come over and into that. I'll get the grinders on this side set up. So that is going to come out, around into there, and then that plugs into there. So I'll get some more blocks. And then these crucibles are actually going to be moved. Which means that can probably be moved. Yeah, I want this table to go away. Alright, so there's the output. I can run some blocks this way. And then the crushers can just sit on top of these. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that can just run into all of those crucibles. They'll join up and go into there. And these will join up and go into there. Run that over this way. And that can go into there. Okay, I am very happy with this system. All I need are the purchasing portals. Let me go grab some sigils for that. And there's 2 ways I can do this. I can either put 1 portal per crusher, or I could just have 1 portal at the beginning that feeds all of the crushers. And the rule of when to do which is based on price. So right now, this belt has 1 piece of silver on it. And so that one, we'll call it a buffer slot, is worth 1,000 copper. Coal is worth almost 5,000 copper. So 1 piece of coal on a belt takes up the same amount of buffer space as 5 of the silver. So whenever the item is more expensive than the buffer space on the belt for the money stack size you're using, then it's better to put the portal up closer. Rather than having a bunch of coal on belts here, it's better to have a big belt of money than a big belt of coal. I think that's the simplest way of explaining it. So I'll get these here. And oh my god, I'm stuck. Get unstuck. Okay. That's the first time I had to use that button. And then the input belt for money here can just run along like this. That is beautiful. And I might even just blueprint this. And that is F to confirm, and H to save it. So this is going to make coke powder. And I don't want it right up against the wall. I want to save some space. So maybe right, well, there. I need 1 tile for the elevator. And then that will just connect into there. And just like that, money is being turned into fuel. Just need to set these to coal. The only problem with this is that it won't self-start, but because this box is here, it's really easy to just throw in some fuel to get it started. Now that that is done, I can focus on fertilizer. If we take a look at the assembler, the recipe for advanced fertilizer is basic fertilizer and gloom fungus. Now, I've been staying away from basic fertilizer just because I know it's really not that great. So I will need to come up with a build for that, don't have that yet. But gloom fungus, that is made from the rotten logs. You also get wood. So I need 15 mushrooms a minute and 15 fertilizer a minute. And then these mushrooms, that is the table saw. So I'll go buy some rotten logs to see the ratio on that. Throw that in there. So it only makes 6. And this needs 15. So if I do 2 of these, then that would be 30 total. And then I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because 5 times 6 is 30. So that would give me all of the mushrooms I need. Now I just need to come up with 30 fertilizer a minute in another build. And that is using plant ash and quicklime powder. Now plant ash is made from sage, and quicklime powder is made from rocks. I did get this nursery in the last episode, so I'll take advantage of this. That way I don't have to keep resupplying my fertilizer build. I'll let it supply itself. And then I'm pretty sure fertilizer, let's check on that recipe. So it's 15 a minute, and 15 a minute makes 15 a minute. So every assembler making advanced fertilizer needs 1 making basic fertilizer. So 15 quicklime powder per minute. How do we do that? I think it's a furnace and a crucible. And all I'd have to do is feed it some rocks. But I need to know how quickly these work. So 6.7 a minute. And then what about the grinders? I'm pretty sure this is just 1-to-1. Yeah, 1-to-1. So 30 quicklime powder per minute at 6.7 a minute. That is 4.5 crucibles. Oh, this is just like this build. I could factor in all of the crucibles I need here to make vitality potions, and just have all of the quicklime powder for the fertilizer and the vitality potions made in the same spot. So this needs 9. This needs 4.5 for 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I would need a 5th one so that I could get the 0.5 out of that. I wonder if this would be better if I did 3 of everything. My only concern now would be, how do I make enough gloom fungus? So it's, let's see, 45 now, and 45, how many times does 6 go into 45? Is that 7.5? So I would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 table saws. But even then, it would still be slightly underproducing. I'd rather overproduce than underproduce. And this way it'll stay symmetrical. So these 3 furnaces will be doing the quicklime for the vitality potions. This is getting too complicated. I'm gonna remove this from the equation. Because these alone need 45 quicklime powder per minute. These only make 6.7. And 45 divided by 6.7 is almost 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I need a whole nother furnace just for that. Unless I double this whole thing to 15 crucibles, that would give me a total of 100 quicklime powder. This is using 45. And these are using 30 and 30. Which is 60. 60 and 45 is 105. That's almost perfect. Yeah, I think I might do that. So then I could just run this along here. That will fill up the crucibles. So I will join all of it together and then send it up and around. We'll have some assemblers doing basic fertilizer, and then some blenders for the vitality potion. And those can be right here. And I'm leaving this gap because I need some space for an elevator. So then I'll run, this will be the gloom shrooms, or the gloom fungus, across this way. That can plug into there, that can plug into there, 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 and there. Okay. Then no, that's not quite right. That's the plant ash. This is the plant ash. The next step will be the fungus. So I'll come out 1, 2. This will be the advanced fertilizer. That could just run straight in. And then across the top here, same idea as the last step. Just copy these. There we go. Vitality potions can just come out right here, I guess. Now I need to figure out where I'm gonna put all 8 of these table saws. The problem is that they need this filter splitter on their output. And I will filter out probably the fungus. I think that comes out of the top output. Yeah. And they'll be making 24 a minute of wood. My belts can do 120. That's 5. So every belt can only do 4. Yeah, it can only do 4 of these. And if I make it symmetrical, like that, I would need a lot more space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would need 2 belts of wood output. So something like this should work. And then the mushrooms, I think I'll join on a single belt. Because they have pretty low throughput. Yeah, so something like this should work just fine. Now I need this to go... Ah, jeez. Maybe in this area? Get it up on some boxes. So something like right here. Then all of the wood can actually go the other direction. And then this belt can just connect into right here. Like so. Don't need that. Don't need that. And don't need that. Then this space right here could be for the grapevines to make the fruit wine. And I think I'll just throw this wood into a box for now. I'll figure out how to disperse it throughout the rest of the base later. Now, rotten logs are more than 1,000 copper, so it's better to put the portals up against the table saws and buffer the coins than it is to buffer the logs. Run that way. Run this along there. Now I need to figure out the planters, the nursery locations. I also need crucibles for plant ash, though, at 45 a minute. So I need to do some testing. I'll grab some sage. Sage is turned into plant ash at 20 a minute. Okay. So then I would need... Oh, these ratios suck. It's 3 whole crucibles just to overproduce. But that's okay. Overproducing is fine. And that I think I can just fit along here. Something like this. Just have these run into there. Then they'll run across and into there. It can use the same fuel belt as those, but it needs a different input. So that'll come from the opposite direction. And then I'll get this nursery in, I guess, right there. So that this can connect that way. Its output will just be like that. You're gonna grow sage. Nope, wait, sage, there we go. And I need a little bit to get going so that I can take the fertilizer and actually put it in the nursery to get the nursery kick-started. And I'll also go grab some of these logs to get the mushrooms started. And just throw everything into a box for now. Alright, I'll take this and put it in here. So that will go by itself now. Then the final input, just to these crucibles. I have to remember to leave space for fuel. I'm going to do some stone on the ground. then the belt, and then the lab stand. That way I can come back over the top of that with some more stone. I think that looks nicer. Now I need to see how many stone crushers. So these produce at 20 a minute. Right, these consume at 6.7 a minute, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3. No, just 5 times 3, 15. These don't count. So 15 times 6.7 is, right, 100. So I would need 5 of these crushers. 3, 4, 4, and 5. Don't need that box. And this can just run back around into there. Then all I have to do is plug in the fertilizer belt, the fuel belt, and the money belt. Now the money belt, that one is going to be a little tricky to run. I think I'll just put it up on some blocks over here. Like this. Or, no, I can't do that, because this is the stone input. And actually, stone is cheaper than the silver buffer on the belt. So it's okay to just have one portal for all of them. That should be fine. It can share the money belt here. Ooh, I still need to do the fruit wine. I wonder how many of those it's going to take. But this produces 120 a minute, which is more than enough for these crucibles. But this one, the wine, if I throw in some fertilizer here, it produces at 60 a minute. These require extractors, and those run at 10 a minute. So I would need two of those plants. So something like that should get that going. Fertilizer can just be run across there like that. Now I need to figure out how to get the money in. It could actually happen along this side here. This isn't going to be here permanently. That box can go. We'll run this way. Oof. Okay, that needs to go away. I could just do a quick little up and over thing like this. And then connect into there. And because that wraps around to the stone, perfect. Yeah, I like that. So then the fertilizer is actually going to come out this way. But the vitality potion is in the way now. Well, that's not the important part. It's the fertilizer. Okay, moment of truth. I'm going to copy this whole thing. And I'm going to actually save it as a blueprint. This is going to go right... Ooh, do I leave a tile? I think I leave a tile. Alright, I'll put it right there. Now I can run the fertilizer into its proper output. Right there. And as long as I grab from the line after the input, it should be self-feeding. Just need to get the money connected up. And, oh, that's actually really convenient. I could just do this. Boom. Then the last thing is the fuel. And that... I think I'll just use some stands for that. Alright. Everything should start turning on now. And we've got some fertilizer coming out the back. And that should go in to feed these nurseries now. Yep, that's producing. There comes the wine. Alright, beautiful. I can actually go and get rid of this now. This build is obsolete. And I also don't even need these anymore. But that's 2 really big builds done in this episode. Very important builds, actually. Because now, the shop automates money, this build automates fuel, and this build automates fertilizer. So I can really build whatever I want now, as long as this is fed with money. Everything else will be fed. So the shop, we need to get the shop going. I also forgot about soap. I haven't done soap yet, but that's probably gonna have to come in the next episode. Yeah, along with gears, cannons, and the transformation potion. Soap was in the last tier of alchemy. I just never got to it. So I'll go ahead and circle back around to that in the next episode. It shouldn't be too complicated. I could just sneak it in somewhere. I really want to focus on the transformation potion next, though. And then one last thing I want to do before I finally end this episode is actually get this in place here. Come on, right there. I want to run these automatically. So I'll just come out this way, over to here, and then drop down. Over to there. And then on the inside, I could just run a belt like that. So that'll keep the vitality potions automatically stocked. Healing potions. And the rest of this, ooh. Yeah, I'll probably have to come up with a healing potion build in the next episode as well to redo that. Now that I have fertilizer going, all of the plant-based factories need to be redone so that they're automated. And then it's probably a good idea to put in a buffer, like how I have here. That way I'm always prepared. Alright, so I'll make a little pillar right here. That way we can admire all of the work. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, but like I was saying, next episode, I'll tackle soap, get that into the shop. I also need to get glass and bricks into the shop. I was just making enough of those to help me make more buildings, not necessarily sell them. I might even do a little reworking of the shop so that everything fits. But I think the main focus will be the transformation potion there. But really good progress in this episode. It's going to take a while for this to saturate, so I might do a little bit of offline play. Also, I've only got 2 silver coins, so running pretty low on money. I need to let that build back up. But I think that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.